Peter Rose, Longwood currency trading. It's middle of November. It's a little chilly. As you can see, it's a little windy. We're visiting our brook again today. See my shadow probably in the thing. The guys from the landscape crew came by and did our fall cleanup and cleaned out the brook so we could actually see the brook. It was so overcrowded. What does that have to do with knitting your way through a Forex trade? Well, it took time for the undergrowth to grow up along the brook, and it took time to cut it out. It takes time to do stuff that you need to have done, and so you can't expect that you're going to get involved in a trade and magically the thing is going to go 20 pips or 200 pips or whatever it is that your target is instantaneously. Knitting takes patience. It takes time. Everything that you do takes time. Now we've all had a grandmother or a great aunt or somebody who's done knitting before, and you've seen them patiently sitting there. They sit in groups knitting and chatting, and they find it very relaxing. And the reason they find it relaxing, and I don't, my grandmother taught me how to knit. I mean, I just did it enough to knit one sock one time, and that was it. A very bad job too. I found that I didn't have the patience for it because I wasn't interested in the knitting. I was only interested in wearing a sock. And so the same thing is true in your Forex trading. You know, if you're only interested in making the trade to make money, you're not going to be a successful Forex trader because you're going to be making anticipatory trades in order to get this stuff done, in order to get the trade on and get your money. But you can't do that. I mean, I've done, of the 160 or so odd videos that I've done, so many of them have to do with what I call anticipatory trades, right? I mean, you know, you've seen me talk about that quite a bit, where you want to trade so bad that you create a trade. It's not really there, but you want it, so all of a sudden the price action takes on this magical characteristic of having a trade entry characteristic for it. I hope I'm showing up in this video because I've done some of them where I've cut the top of my head off and I'm up here. So it's I should get a GoPro. This is a 5 and they're all the way up to 9 now, and they have these front screens on them so you can see, you can see what you're doing. But I'm afraid all I'd be doing is looking at myself instead of looking at the camera. Oh man, I don't have much patience for it. That's the problem. And I think patience is a real difficult thing for us in knitting and in Forex trading. We just have to accept the fact that if a Forex is important to us as a investment or wealth growth vehicle, it's going to take time to get that wealth. You're not going to start with a $3,000 account and magically end up with $40,000. That just doesn't happen. You're not going to start out with a couple of spools of yarn and by tomorrow have a really nice sweater. That just doesn't happen. If you can see the logic that it's going to take time to knit a sweater, then why is it that we have such difficult time taking the time to do a decent job of planning out our Forex trade, waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the entry point, and then not trying to overrush the trade itself? You just can't afford to do that. If you do that when you're knitting, you come out with a shitty sweater. Well, it isn't gonna keep you warm. If you do that when you're trading Forex, what's going to happen, right? You're going to lose your money. Don't lose your money. It's just not worth it. I'll work my way through the woods here, off the trail. I'm in the middle of the woods, and I'm out here in this shirt, and it's hunting season. And Sue and I walked the bow dog back here yesterday afternoon, and we could hear the shotguns going off in the distance. Some of these hunting deer back here, and we were all dressed up with red, and we had a whistle that we were blowing. But you know, a deer sounds, I'll swing this around so it's not shining into the sun. A deer has this kind of sound to it, and so Sue says, "Quit whistling." Okay. You know, and you have to have patience if you're going to hunt a deer. I've never hunted a deer before, but I know a lot of folks who have. You don't just tromp through the woods and go, "Oh, there's a deer, boom." You know, you got to go up in your tree stand and you got to sit there. My martial arts instructor was a deer hunter, but he didn't do it with a gun. He did it with a bow and arrow. And he'd sit up in his tree stand with the arrow knocked into the bow, and he'd go, and he wouldn't move. And he'd sit there for hours, and then boom, and then he'd go home. Where other people stomping around through the woods, and they're sitting up in the tree house, and they're making noise, and even when they think they're quiet, they're not quiet, because there's a sensitivity of the animal to those noises. The Forex market is sensitive too. It's looking for your fear. It's looking to take advantage of you, because that's the game. Take the weak and eliminate them. 85% of the market is the large institutional investors, some of the smartest people in the world. And as 15% of that market, as a retail investor, you think we're going to bully our way onto the field and make a touchdown? You think we're going to knit that sweater really quick? No, you got to play by the rules of the game, not just the rules of trading, but the rules of the game itself. So what does knitting have to do with your Forex trading? Everything. Everything in nature is connected. It can be related together. That's part of what I can bring to bear for you in this YouTube channel, because of my over 50 years of experience in the martial arts, where we talk about the beauty of the nature around us and how to coexist within that nature. The Chinese saying, if you don't want to get bit by the tiger, don't walk in the woods. If you don't want to lose your money, then don't be over anxious with your Forex trading and expect more than is statistically reasonable for you to have. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.